knew in the 20s that sodium fluoride was a deadly chemical weapon that had a cumulative effect that fractured the bones, the teeth, that attacked every organ in the body, particularly glands, calcified them. Thousands of studies by the 50s. They took the toxic waste, but used the term fluoride as a whole subgroup of over 100 deadly chemicals. Lead, mercury, arsenic, just on and on and on that they dump in your water.
The fight to warn the unsuspecting populace of the dangers of dumping industrialized hydrofluorosilicic acid into the public drinking water system in order to release fluoride ions to meet the CDC recommendations to a level of 0.7 to 1.2 milligrams per liter in order to help prevent tooth decay has been an ongoing battle for over a decade.
The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, otherwise known as OSHA, is a U.S. agency that requires companies to produce a material safety data sheet, or an MSDS, for every chemical product in the market. The MSDS that Mosaic produces for their fluoride product will make your hair stand on end.
So what we find in the case of Mosaic, their hydrofluorosilicic acid, is that it is not a pharmaceutical grade product. It is an industrial grade chemical. And under Section 2, hazard identification, it identifies a health hazard as being corrosive to the skin, the eyes, and the mucous membranes. If you come in contact with it through the skin or inhalation or ingestion, such as swallowing it, it may cause severe irritation and burns.
Water fluoridation is the dispensing of a drug.
This is not chlorine. This is not any number of the other chemicals that are used to treat the water.
Fluoride is being put in specifically to alter you physically, to make a physical change in you.
Fluoride is a drug, is a medicine.
Prozac is a fluoride product. Zoloft is a fluoride product. Virtually all of your psychotropic drugs, almost all of those that are mood elevators. And one of the reasons being is because it has this tremendous capacity to affect serotonin.
Prozac is made almost entirely from fluoride molecules. It is, and like SSRI drugs, are similar molecularly to some of the elements in fluoride. Remember the school shootings in Columbine, Colorado? They were on SSRI drugs. Those drugs make your mind think that you're not living in the real world, that you're actually just sort of experiencing a false reality. And I think fluoride has much the same effect.
There is absolutely no drug on the market that's given in a one-dose-fits-all situation.
We don't put other things in the water to try to keep everybody's blood pressure down or everybody's stroke risk down. And there's no reason why we should be trying a one-size-fits-all approach for this either.
Hydrofluorosilicic acid, what is that? Hydro is water, fluo, fluoride, silicic, sand, and it's missing an electron. It's acidic. It'll kill you. You take your hand, dip it in like that, you're going to die. Hydrofluorosilicic acid does not occur in nature. It's a man-made molecule. And it eats through concrete, glass, stainless steel, fiberglass, plastic. You name it, it'll eat it. So why are we putting that in the water?
You see, hydrofluoric acid won't eat through plastic. It will, however, dissolve metal, rock, glass, ceramic.
The corporocratic fluorosilicic acid market is set to grow from its current market value of more than $670 million to over $1 billion by 2025, as reported in the latest study by Global Market Insights Incorporated.
The thing is, the aluminum industry and the fertilizer industries, they would have to dispose of this, and the government is not going to allow you to dispose of it.
So it's a big joke. Dispose of it in our brains.
So they put it in your brains.
Responding to the outcry, Lester Holt, chief propagandist at NBC News, attempted to keep the dying pro-fluoride narrative alive.
The CDC calls it one of the most important advances of the 20th century. But as Aaron McLaughlin reports, it's the latest front in the culture wars.
Major health organizations, including the CDC, the American Dental Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics, support fluoride in drinking water. But it's been rejected by dozens of communities throughout the U.S. in recent years, with activists determined to press further.
Regardless of the propaganda, those with the ability to still critically think instinctively know there is a lot more to the story. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
Broadcasting from the foremost state of Oregon in FEMA Region 10, it's your host, Joshua Michael.
Welcome to another amazing broadcast. I'm your host, Joshua Michael. Thank you very much for joining me today on this ever-exciting day of May 11th, 2024. We got a lot we want to get into. As you know, there's been some massive solar flares that have transpired over the past couple days, up to a level 5, which is one of the highest levels of solar activity, which could have implications of potential power outages, radio disruptions, GPS disruptions, all types of disruptions that could be coming in regards to the electric sphere and the electric space. You know, electric cars, electric GPS system, anybody that, you know, rides in these, suicide cars, these autopilot Teslas and stuff, they're absolutely crazy. But those could be affected as well. The missile strikes going on in Ukraine, things like that, those could be affected. So we could potentially have peace for a couple days because of this massive solar flare that's going on. So if you've seen all the beautiful pictures of people posting of the sky last night and everything else, those are the effects of what's going on. It's going all the way down to Northern California into Georgia as kind of the whole space north of that to be able to get these beautiful shots of the sky. And what does that mean? It's not just an opportunity to take some selfies with a cool background. What does it actually mean? And it has a lot to do with, weather patterns from the sun and the sun going through these different cycles. And I'm not an expert on it by any means, but basically the sun's going through a bunch of different cycles. It heats up, it cools down, it has these flares and massive explosions. And we're going to see some all through this weekend. So it could have effects on the radio. It could have effects on your computer electronics. There's been reports of some outages with different systems and gaming systems and different things. Nothing major on infrastructure yet. According to some of the experts that I've been listening to, is they've stated that this is not going to be a catastrophic event like some people are talking about, which is good news. However, it's a golden opportunity to check yourself where you're at in your preparedness, but also realize how quickly things can come undone. For anybody that's been holding off on getting dry storable food, fresh, clean drinking water filtration systems, backup power, multiple different sources of backup power, backup fuel, all these different survival things that we need, either short-term, long-term, sustainable. I know if you haven't got your garden in the ground yet, you better get onto that because that's a very important element in becoming quote-unquote non-compliant, which is the future. Getting further and further off the system and off the dependency of this system is the success. That's the way you become successful, right? Taking your kids out of school, taking them out of public school, homeschooling, private school, co-ops, different things like that. That's the way you fight back. Stop shopping at Target. Stop buying Bud Light. These are just some high-profile incidents of people taking back and being non-compliant. That's what this show is all about. That's what the messaging is all about. That's how we restore our American system. So, into the solar flares, it's going on. Just know if there's any minor interruptions or anything going on, that's more than likely what it is. It is suggested if you aren't using a computer or something like that to unplug your electronics this weekend. I think Monday is going to be the last flare-up that's going on. There's 6 of them, I believe, is what they're anticipating. So really interesting because, once it escalated and it got up and it's like, okay, here it comes. They were rolling in last night. It's like, okay, how do you prepare for something like this? Right? This isn't climate change. They're probably going to claim that it's climate change. It's not climate change. So how do you prepare? You get Faraday bags and put it in all your important electronics. And what's interesting, too, with something like a solar flare, if we had a real one, the satellites would be affected. So if you have a satellite phone as a preparedness emergency item, it's essentially not going to work. So you have to forward think about what's another form of communication. I mean, something big enough like a Carrington event that happened in the 1800s, something like that, I mean, we might be down to like smoke signals and horses and buggies. You know, I mean, it really could get down to that point. So how to be prepared for that, how to do that. There's always this ongoing joke of in the future, the Amish are going to rule the country because they're all mechanical. They don't have electronics. They don't have technology. They build and integrated a lifestyle that they've maintained for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they've been riding on that path successfully and kind of coexisting with everything else. So that's kind of the ongoing joke is, right, we might all get blown to smithereens in some form or fashion where all of our dependencies and the technological advancements suddenly become unnecessary, and then all of a sudden we have to use our brain and be one with nature again. You know, think about that. That's crazy. So hopefully you're out there getting prepared, folks. What a better time now than ever, as kind of a warning that things can happen very, very quickly. And if you're not prepared, if you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to just, once I get wind that something's going to come up, I'm just going to order everything from Amazon and then I'll have it in a couple days and we should be good. Might come a lot quicker than that, folks, just so you know. It's very, 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 very important to be prepared. So as you know, we started this show today talking about fluoride in the water. I personally believe this is a very, very good fight that's simple, tangible, and people within our communities, within the Salem communities, within the outskirts communities, within Oregon, should get behind this. And I'm actually talking to a couple legislators on proposing a bill and putting it forth as a vote and starting to lobby that on eliminating fluoride out of our water. Now, ignorant people say, there's no fluoride in our water. We're in Oregon. Look it up, folks. There's a lot of chemicals and a lot of things. One, there's a lot of things that they don't test for in our water. So we don't know if they're there or not. Things such as various different types of medications, right? Because it eventually gets into the water table or gets into the water and it doesn't break down. It just maintains. That's one of the things about the pharmaceuticals is that they don't break down. And so if you're not filtering them out effectively, like we talked about before, and we're going to have a special guest on, not today, but I have a guy coming on talking about water filtration and the importance of water filtration, how to remineralize it, and how to use water distilling in effectively getting the best water that you can. Now, here's why I think this is important, and this is an important lobby. This, I believe, is a unifying message between the Democrats, the Republicans, and the independents. Everybody ultimately wants clean drinking water. That is a great, great thing. Now, it'd be interesting to see what the naysayers come up and what kind of things that they try to stir up. But I believe that is something that is going to drastically help in the overall fight for freedom, for independence, for this republic. Because a docile, drugged-up population is never going to have the motivation or the clarity or the understanding to want to push things forward. And that's the reason why they're putting this drug, this industrial chemical, inside of all of our drinking water so we consume it, therefore never actually become activated. That's why when you look around and you look at one of the most docile countries, you know, in like Great Britain or whatever, and these guys are up in arms, you know, throwing huge events and having big marches and stuff, and we're like, why don't we have that here? It's because they don't put the fluoride in the drinking water, folks. It makes a huge difference. We'll be right back.
the lies. The occupied forces do not want you to hear this broadcast. Breaking through the censorship and delivering raw, unedited content, it's Joshua Michael with Non-Compliant America.
All right, we're back, folks. What an amazing day. What an amazing day it is to be alive today. We went from 43 degrees to like 84 degrees in a matter of a day or two. Now, is that climate change? Are they manipulating the weather? Absolutely. Do they have, weather modification systems all over, all day long? We saw that in Dubai a couple months ago with the massive flooding that they had. They had full-blown articles and full-blown, documentaries about how great their weather modification system is and all of that stuff. So, yes, rest assured, it is out there. Is this because of a lot of things? Absolutely. A lot of things circulating on the internet right now, all over X space. People are talking about this solar flare, end of the world type scenario. Elon Musk just posted a major geomagnetic storm that's happening right now, and he posts some K-index data on there. He said it's the biggest in a long time, but Starlink seems to still be operational, so we're not at a level 9 catastrophe yet. It's creeping up there, and it's getting there. It's really actually fascinating because they're able to measure all of this stuff, whereas before they didn't have the proper measuring tools. When they initially did the first Apollo launch and things like that, the radiation devices that they had on the ships themselves actually didn't have the right threshold, and so they were just peaking out and basically getting destroyed. So they never knew what the actual measuring systems are. But we've become so successful in technology that we've been able to kind of mitigate some of those thresholds and have a better understanding of what our world is. But with all the technology and everything that we have, we still don't know, any scientist or anybody that has a indefinite, guaranteed, this is the way the world is. You got to watch out for those people because we don't really know. There's so much stuff in this world that we don't know. People pretend that we know. They use big words and everything else. And we saw that with COVID. We saw that with, all the doctors and trust the scientists and all the garbage. Here's what's interesting to me. And I've been, following the Todd Vaughn campaign. And, we've had Michaela on a couple times and everything else in the David Brock Smith dilemma and now Christine Goodwin and all this stuff. And I was trying to get Kevin Starrett on him. We had a scheduling conflict, so he's going to try to get on next week to talk about an update with the Measure 114. It's been in and out of the courts, but they've just been slaying all these appeals courts. And just think, our state is spending millions and millions of dollars to take your guns away. How does that make you feel? So one of the most important fights, I believe, for the Second Amendment is to get behind Kevin Starrett and the Oregon Firearms Federation. You can go to OregonFirearms.org, I believe. Sorry if I butchered that one, but I'll put the link inside my podcast that you guys can click on that. Donate, get behind him, give him $5, $10, $100. This is a very, 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 very crucial case that he's fighting tooth and nail, fantastically, by the way, only because they don't have a real argument. Their entire measure is ridiculous. And as you guys know, you've been following it, if you've been seeing it, the whole thing is ridiculous. And so it's funny to watch these lawyers, these granolas coming in and trying to, talk about weapons that they've probably never seen a gun in real life ever. They've never held one. They don't understand what a magazine even is. And so it's funny to have them and listen to them and watch them have a debate about something that they know nothing about. You would think that they would become more sufficient, but anybody that's been around a gun or grew up, exercising their Second Amendment and, having a family and been hunting or, anything else, nobody would take that on. It's like having a known liar go to an attorney and say, "Hey, I need you to represent me," and they're like, "Oh no, we can't represent you. You just lie all the time." So it's really interesting because you have that anomaly going on, but they're still pushing it forward. But we need to get behind Kevin. He's doing very, very well at the Oregon Firearms Federation and getting behind that. But it's a nice segue into, if you've been on X, there's been a lot of stuff going on with these different campaigns down in Coos County and Douglas County. And so there's basically, let me give you kind of the premise of the story, is that there was this group called the Oregon Gun Rights. And this campaign manager, Christina Goodwin, she posted a couple months ago on some of her campaign flyers and stuff that she was supported by Oregon Gun Rights. Well, we looked it up, and there is no Oregon Gun Rights. There wasn't an organization, there wasn't a PAC, there wasn't anything. So it was very misleading because it was basically telling everybody that, there was Oregon Gun Rights. And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. She's supported by Oregon Gun Rights. Okay, cool. Well, then you look it up. There was no Oregon Gun Rights until about 2 weeks ago. I believe it was on the 26th of April. So it would have been just over 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, there's a new registered company that was registered called Oregon Gun Rights, because everybody was like, who is this organization? Who are these guys? What are they about? Right? So they all of a sudden created a Twitter, and so we reached out to them and we asked them some questions, and wait till you hear what they said. Wait till you hear what their response is right on the other side. Be right back.
Broadcasting from the formal state of Oregon in FEMA Region 10, it's your host, Joshua Michael.
All right, welcome back. So real quick, just some updates here. We got the primary elections coming up, and me and Jeff Krupp from Political Coffee at KSLM, we are going to be at Miller's Barbecue on election night, hosting it live. So come out and join us and have an awesome time, get some barbecue, and hang out with us while we watch the election process. There's some great candidates out there. A lot of America First, I would call them Maga, Tea Party-esque, libertarian-esque, kind of hijacking the Republican Party that has been a disaster in the state of Oregon for decades. And so it's nice to see some great people getting in the arena. They aren't seasoned politicians. They haven't got their fangs into these guys yet. And so it's really nice to see. It's a nice breath of fresh air. And understand, these people are out sacrificing hours and hours and hours of their day, every single day, all throughout the night, having conversations, and they've been under a massive, massive amount of attacks. And I just commend them. They've been hardened, they're battle hardened, they are ready to fight for you and do some great things. So it's important to vote and reach out to your family and friends and talk about these people. There is a lot of exciting things happening this election cycle, and I believe this is one of the most important years and a very pivotal moment in America's history. We're fighting against all these different fronts, and ultimately it comes down to a culture and a cultural and spiritual battle. But in that, you have to also be engaged into this worldly system that has been constructed that we have to navigate through. Okay? So before we went to break, we were talking about this group called Oregon Gun Rights. Now, who is Oregon Gun Rights? Well, I can't find out anymore because, they blocked me, and I'll tell you why. But what's interesting is that this group, Oregon Gun Rights, they pop up out of nowhere. And so it's only because they got a massive amount of scrutiny online through citizen journalists, through activists, that are like, hey, who are these guys? And why are they sponsoring all these people? So they pop up and they're sponsoring, they're endorsing all these people. So they got this list of endorsements. I'm trying to find it here on my thing. So they are created to endorse candidates and haven't done anything for gun rights. Senator Knope's son was one of the people involved in creating this Oregon Gun Rights group called Oregon Gun Rights. Reminds me of like Black Lives for Mansions, They're not really for Black lives. That's just what they were doing. So anyways, kind of a saga going on in regards to that because they've been called out. They've completely got egg on their face now. And now people understand, hey, this is a fake group. And so they had all these endorsements. They had all these endorsements listed on their website. And I'm trying to find one of them, which was really interesting. This was from Dwayne Yunker of the House District 3 regarding his endorsement. So he got an endorsement from the Oregon Gun Rights, right? And the endorsement came on April 24th. Well, he decided on May 9th, just a couple days ago, to do a statement on the OregonGunRights.org website. Now listen to the statement. It's really telling. He says, this is from his house for immediate release from whoever's contact is, Mary Beth Miller, okay? So Salem, Oregon. Today, Representative Dwayne Yunker, Republican of Josephine County, responded to questions about a new website launched last month, OregonGunRights.org. He says, quote, I'm not affiliated in any way with the website OregonGunRights.org. I did not ask them for an endorsement or to be featured on this site. The only gun rights group I've spoken with or sought an endorsement from is by the Oregon Firearms Federation. I'm proudly endorsed by Oregon Firearms Federation, an organization with a proven 25-year-plus track record in the Second Amendment rights advocacy in Oregon. So he's like, hey, I don't want your endorsement. I don't know who you guys are. I don't know where you came from. But it's so interesting, right? So who is Oregon Gun Rights? And so it really is fascinating because all it is the same people, the Roseburg Six, whatever you want to call them, these people in Douglas County that got thrown out and recalled a couple weeks ago. Those are the people that are asking these great questions that I believe is important for the public to vet this stuff out and find this stuff out because, they're lying. They're deceiving the public. They're deceiving the voters. Why can't they just be honest? Really? What is so hard about just being honest? The fact is, they don't care about you. They're not interested in you. They've been controlling the party, and it's a two-party duopoly, uniparty for decades. But now, because they've pushed so far, and they've revoked all of our rights, and they've messed with our kids, and they drew the line. They stood an inch too far and pissed a lot of people off to where they're like, hey, listen, I'm not going to go blindly into this night. I'm going to take part in this political process, and I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm going to stand up for my family and my future. And that's what's going on. And they're getting attacked by these blue blood Republicans like David Brock Smith or Solomon and his cronies and whomever else is in and involved in this uniparty system in the name of them protecting liberties, in the name of protecting the preservation of the Republican Party, they're attacking these small-time, people that are just simply trying to be involved, just simply trying to help. They're not saboteurs. They're not disruptors. They're great people that are pissed off. Because we all should be pissed off. With what's happening in this country, we should be very, very, very active. Every single day, we should be involved in things. Every single day, we should be calling these people out. It should be happening all the time, which wrote back into why I think it's important to take fluoride out of the drinking water, is because I think that will get more people to be active. I don't think people don't want to be active. I just don't think they know what they want to do. And I also think there's a whole chemical castration process happening as well that's disrupting people's minds and brains from being able to be, 100% and get on that primitive self-preservation element, which they don't want. They don't want a free, open-minded thinking population. They don't want people asking questions. They don't want people getting involved. They don't want people getting in your face. They want you to sit down, shut up, get on your Netflix, and have your time and rob you of your time pass you by. Meanwhile, while they distract, disrupt, distort, and destroy the future generations with your kids, they want you to take that over. And so, best thing to do if you do have young children, take them out of public school. The public school is not only making money off of them, and they will lose money if you take them out, but they will also, you can relinquish the grip from their induction system. Now you may think, oh man, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. There's a school choice vote that's coming down the pipeline right now, where you get to choose what school you want to go to. You can choose that, which is going to create competition and force these schools to then meet and be at the behest of parents and listen to what the parents want and not what the state wants. And so that's a very important element to get behind. That's how you can make a difference. That's how you can make a change. Right? Oregon is not lost. It's not the end all be all end of the road. We just have a little bit harder fight because we're dealing with the establishment Democrats and the establishment Republicans. But we still have a huge, giant, untapped voting block of non-affiliated voters. Because a lot of people see the nonsense and see the garbage on both sides, and they don't want to be a part of it. And that's where the fight is. That's where the culture war is. That's where the future is. I believe that's going to be the future of this entire country. Because as we keep fighting with these Republicans and these establishment Republicans, eventually they're going to have to go to a third party. Eventually we're going to have to go to like an American party. We should just start a party called the American Party. America First Party. Because that's really what it is. That's really what we need. Right? And the closest thing to that right now is the Republicans. But there's a lot of deceptions. There's a lot of money. Let me give you an example, okay? I just got an email today. The email supposedly came from President Trump. But you dig deeper, and it's actually the RNC, and they even disclose it and give you the disclaimer. But they're pretending that they're on the Trump campaign, and it's the Trump campaign that's asking for this information and asking for this money. Then you read the fine lines, and it's like, oh, no. This is a PAC that's supported by Trump, but yeah, we're going to take all the money, and most of the money goes to the RNC. So they're trying to deceive you in every single way, and there's a lot of that going on locally as well. So we gotta be diligent, folks. We gotta get behind the good people that are asking the right questions. They never catching us like me and my buddy. We working hard for this money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time. This is the time of your life. This is the time and the moment that you get involved. This is the moment that is so crucial. The animated spirit of liberty is rising every single day. I can feel it. More and more and more and more people are waking up and getting privy to what's going on and how we've been asleep for so long. And what a glorious time and what a glorious blessing it is to be alive and to be able to experience this growth and this movement. We've been alone for so long. Been alone for so long. I've always wondered, even since I was a child, I've always wondered, is humanity ever going to wake up? How do people go every single day and not see these things going on, and these lies and this deception and then distortion, the distortion of the beautiful spirit of the human behavior and the human psyche and just the human in itself and how magical and fragile life is. Because at any moment, it can be gone, just like that. Just like that. And we saw how quickly things escalated with the solar flare stuff. And you know what? We got measuring tools. We think we got everything figured out. We don't know to what extent. It's still going on right now, the solar flares are. They're going to go on until Monday. And so we don't know. We have an idea, but think of how vast and giant and large, well beyond our scope of understanding. Well beyond our scope of understanding. Go back 100 years and look at the medical system. What we knew about medical industry and bacteria and antibiotics and different things like that. Think of how much advancements we've had since then. We thought we knew everything back then too. So what I'm trying to get at is that we don't know anything. We think that we know all this stuff, and let's not get caught in that trap. Understand, we are on God's time, and this is God's universe. And we have to give all of our glory and sacrifice to Him, because He is the one that's carrying us from the beginning. He's the one that's showing compassion and love and peace and all of those things within your life as things spiral out of control and things get crazy. Understand, He is the truth, the light, and the answer. Whether you believe it or not, He believes in you. Whether you like Him or not, He's still going to be there. And even if you've done all these horrible things in the world, you can today ask for forgiveness and ask Him to come into your life. I promise you, it is something that is unexplainable, but it will give you so much peace and discernment and clarity with what you need to do and what your path should be. It's very important to think about that. Okay, to wrap this up, I want to play a documentary. It's about 8 minutes long about the Dollar General store. Now, in case you guys don't know what a Dollar General is, these are these little tiny shops, like these one-stop shops that are popping up in all the rural communities. At first, I thought it was local. Turns out they got like 19,000 stores. But they've been doing some very, very nefarious things to their consumers. And somebody's beautifully put a documentary together to expose that. And I want to play that for you guys so you guys are aware with what's going on in the world. Take a listen.
I've begun to really see Dollar General as like a criminal organization.
You're stealing from my community, and I think they're very aware of it.
It's a classic bait and switch.
Somebody at the top is making a lot of money.
Go for a drive in any American county, and you'll likely soon pass by the yellow and black lettering of a Dollar General. Drive a little further, and another will appear. Then another, then another.
Here's the other Dollar General store. It's 7 miles from the last Dollar General store we were at.
With nearly 20,000 Dollar General stores in 48 states, the Tennessee-based discount chain has sunk its teeth into lower-income, rural, and suburban areas everywhere.
It's easy to look at the dollar stores and think they are a sign of economic distress or a symptom of economic distress, but what we found is that they're in fact a cause of it.
Underneath Dollar General's so-called low everyday prices in convenient locations lies a sinister business model and a massive scandal that hardly anybody knows about.
The fact that we have to sue a company to get them to tell the truth is absurd in my mind to begin with.
My name is Lori Hartline. I am a Dollar General shopper out of convenience in my neighborhood. What you see here is when you travel, you'll go from looking for a grocery store, and before you get one, you have 3 Dollar General options. And that's all you have.
In May of 2022, Lori Hartline started noticing some seemingly harmless discrepancies while shopping at her local Dollar General.
When they opened up in, I think it was 2021, their price of my kitty litter was $8.95. Great. I purchased it all the time. I didn't pay attention. I go up there, I check out, I leave. Well, one day, wait a minute, $10? I noticed it. I asked him about it. Oh no, they've raised the price. Well, that doesn't say it on the shelf. Well, they just have to change it. It's in the computer. It's not on the shelf. Next week, go in and buy cat litter. Same thing. That is not what the price says on the shelf. What am I doing wrong here? I was watching the news one morning and heard about Dollar General in the state of Ohio was being sued for deceptive pricing. That is what happens to me. I knew I wasn't crazy. I know it's just not me.
After months of repeatedly being overcharged by Dollar General, Lori wrote a letter to the Oklahoma Attorney General.
And within 2 days, I got a response that they forwarded the letter. Great. They responded back, Dollar General did, and they apologized and they said, we'll have a gift card for you. I said, okay, well, let me just ask, how much is it for? $10. Tell her to keep it. I don't want it. It was insulting.
Lori's story was brought to attorney Mark Dan, where it became the basis for one of 3 class action lawsuits in Oklahoma, New York, and New Jersey.
I don't think there's any question that Dollar General is doing this intentionally and systematically.
June 22nd, I was overcharged 4 items out of 11. $7.95 was advertised $6.50.
If you tell me one thing and then charge me something else, in almost every jurisdiction in America, that would be theft by deception. Corporations, as we now know from the U.S. Supreme Court, are people, and people need to follow the law.
Dollar General's deceptive business practices run deeper than most realize, according to Stacy Mitchell, a researcher at the Institute for Local Self-Reliance.
I think what they're looking for is places that have been, that lack, economic and political power, places that they can push around. They're often building in such numbers that it becomes impossible for a new grocery store or other locally owned businesses to develop in a neighborhood that really needs them. They kind of lock in poverty as they grow because poverty is the thing that really fuels these companies' profit.
All right, that's all for today, folks.
So we have
Thank you very much for listening. You can watch more of that Dollar General crime organization documentary that is transpiring. There's class action lawsuits happening all over the country. There's Dollar Generals all over Oregon. It's time we expose these people, which is what we do and what we're vowed to do to restore our liberties. You're listening to Non-Compliant America. I'm Joshua Michael. Have a good day.